Welcome to Trek Trav. I'm Trav, and we're going to be discussing Strange New Worlds, Season 1, Episode 2, Children of the Comet. Make sure to subscribe, like, follow. We start off on a desert planet with some aliens in some huts, wandering around and doing general alien things. And then up in the sky, they notice a comet, a little blue streak in the sky, and they point up to it. The aliens are pretty standard Star Trek aliens. They have the prosthetics, but they look really good. It's an interesting setup, and I like the way Strange New Worlds is doing this, emphasizing the strange new worlds of it all. So we go to the Enterprise and we're greeted by Uhura, who is wearing her dress uniform because she's going to the captain's cabin for a dinner. She's been tricked by Ortegas into wearing the dress uniform. When she arrives, Captain Pike acknowledges the dress uniform and knows exactly why she's wearing it because it's sort of a hazing. An Uhura-centric episode, this whole episode. So we have a lot of discussions between all of the cast. All of the cast's in there. We meet Hammer. He's a little bit grouchy, but he seems really likable. Spock sort of explains the disability. Uhura asks about the precondition. This was all in the trailer. And then Uhura sits down and Pike's talking. They're all talking to each other. She mentions that she's from Kenya and that her parents and her brother were killed. She didn't want to go to this institute that they worked at because she didn't find it comfortable. She couldn't study anymore, so she just decided to join Starfleet because she'd heard stories about it. And we're introduced to this the sense that she doesn't know her place within the show. Pike asks her, where do you want to be in 10 years? That's what leads up to that question. And she answers honestly. And what I like about this Uhura is she's very honest. Spock obviously discusses things and he tries to work things out. Uhura thinks she's blown the meeting. She thinks that she was too honest, she was too open, she didn't show any interest in what she was doing, and she loves linguistics and she loves learning languages. She learned 37, 32 of them were from Africa, and she shows like she's a prodigy. She knows this stuff. She knows linguistics down pat. Cut to after the dinner, Spock's in the corridor. He's talking to Uhura, and he's saying that a lot of people want to join Starfleet, and you really need to either stay or make way for someone who wants to be in Starfleet. And she takes this personally. You can see she takes it as an attack, which Spock probably doesn't mean it that way. So we find out that the Comet is actually on a collision course with the planet we saw in the first scene, a planet-destroying event, and the Enterprise is going to try and stop it. They can't stop it because there is a structure on the Comet, and there is also shields around the Comet. The Comet seems to only activate when they're firing weapons or they're trying to do something with the Comet. So they beam over Uhura, Samuel Kirk, Spock, and La'an. They go down to the planet and they go to the structure and they enter and they see a big, giant golden egg. It's sparkly. It's pulsating with energy. The Comet is grey outside, it's beautiful inside. The imagery in this show is beautiful. Samuel Kirk and Uhura are looking at the big egg. La'an and Spock go and investigate to see if there's anyone there. Samuel Kirk gets a bit too close and gets electrocuted, and he needs to go to the hospital. Because he's got too close to this big giant egg, the shields for the Comet raise and they can't beam them back. So we're left in a situation where Uhura has to try and communicate with the vessel or with the Comet and try and get the shields down so they can beam back to get medical assistance for Kirk. Meanwhile, on the Enterprise, we are greeted by the Shepherds, which are a group of spiritualists who guide the Comet on its journey, believing it to be a bringer of life, a bringer of death, to planets that it passes. And they sort of come off initially as being religious zealots, and Pike uses those words. Pike, they basically told, you can't rescue these people or you will start a war. And Pike sort of like, oh crap, we need to get them off this fucking thing. And they didn't think they knew about them first, but then they actually sorted it out. And it was sort of a shock. And there's a nice little comedy interplay between the characters. Like they are very honest with each other and are very open with each other, which I find is refreshing and new. So in the comet, Uhura is wandering around. She's trying to understand the comet. Spock said to her, "You're the only one who can work out how to communicate with this comet or with the machine mechanism in this comet." And she's unsure of herself, and Spock tries to give her some pep talks, which don't go so well, and then the second one goes really well. And she talks about how this is the first time dealing with her life being in danger, and she's a fresh cadet, and she starts humming. And initially, La'an's really annoyed. The humming's annoying as crap, and Spock takes it as a fear response. Then he notices that the comet's walls of the comet, which are flickering with light. Uhura is humming. She's walking around. She's trying to work it out. Spock assumes that it's a nervousness. He tries to give her a pep talk. And then we find out that the walls of the cavern actually react to her humming. And Uhura realizes that maybe they communicate through music. And Spock says that music and mathematics are intricately linked. She tries to convey a message. There's an interesting scene where her and Spock are humming around the big golden egg, and they're seeing the reactions. And Uhura sort of comes across as, oh, maybe I can convey a message. So she tries to reach a pitch or a tone, like harmonize a pitch or a tone. All of a sudden, the shields are down. We cut back to the Enterprise. The shields are down. They get beamed across. Samuel gets taken to medical. Uhura comes on the bridge. Pike has obviously just rescued the crew, so suddenly there's a big battle. The ships are flying. The big ship, which kind of looks like all of those renderings of what our space travel ships will look like. So there's the Enterprise flying through. The Enterprise shots look beautiful. The whole ship, the other ship looks beautiful. This imagery is really nice. The battle is taking place, so we've got Uhura on the bridge, and they're trying to work out how they can stop this comet. She needs to understand it. She needs an hour. They've only got a couple of minutes. The ship is stronger than them, and they keep fighting. So La'an uses the weapons after Pike's order to disable the Shepard's ship, and they're disabled for a minute or two, according to La'an. Pike suddenly races off towards the comet, sends the Enterprise towards the comet, and then powers everything down, playing dead, essentially. He goes, "Look, we need your help. We need help. Blow up. The comet blows up. If you destroy us, the comet blows up. Help us get away from this, and then we'll be done." And it's an interesting thing that he's playing dead, and I didn't know quite, because they didn't explain the plan. And then we cut to Spock, who is in a shuttle and he's flying, and he's using harmonic resonance to knock the comet out of the direction of this planet, and then he's flying through. We have an interesting joke where Spock laughs while he's on the shuttle, talking about how sometimes all you can do is laugh, which has been said throughout before in the episode, which I haven't mentioned before. And it's some things are so bad that you have to laugh. So Spock's alive. He comes back. The Shepard's base. They find out that once with the comet sailing past, the comet's leaving ice debris that falls into the atmosphere and causes rain, which will increase the life and the water vapor within the air, and it might start basically terraforming. And I thought this was really interesting. I liked the way that sort of played that way, and you're sort of going, okay, it's just sort of a happy accident. The Shepards go, oh, the comet made the choice. This is just the way it is. It's decided that this planet will live. Pike sort of accepts that they have a belief that this happened, and he sort of thanks them and leaves them. And they say, we're not enemies anymore. Then we cut to Uhura's translated the message, and we find out that the ship actually sent an image, which was of one of the ice shards that headed towards the planet, and it's identical to one of the ones that happened after Spock. So they discovered that actually the comet had some sort of precognition and knew what was going to happen, which was an interesting take. And we end on an episode of sort of having faith. And then we cut. The final scene is Una and Pike sitting there, and they're discussing his life and fate and how it works. And Una says, how do you know it's fate? You can't leave things up to fate. Things change. She's using the comet to sort of talk about precognition and how you never know what's going to happen. You just have to live for now. This show seems to be a lot about. The episode ends on that positive note of the aliens on the planet feeling the rain within their fingers, and you can see the happiness on their face at the rain. So this episode, I actually thought was better than the first episode. I enjoyed the characters much more. I like the focus on Uhura. Uhura's actress is really good. They we got more character from Uhura in this episode than we did the entirety of TOS. And we sort of had that singing, and we know Uhura is into singing. Once again, like the first episode, but probably a little bit better. It's a slower paced episode where we're talking things out and things are going on. And we're sort of dealing with a little bit of sort of abstract topics, but at the same time not pushing it too far. All of the actors are really good. Pike is good, Una's good, the woman who plays Ortega's. The actress who plays Uhura nails it. She's got that innocence and naivety while also being a little bit awkward, almost confidence in who she is, at the same time having a fear of not living up to the expectations of others. And it's really interesting to see that take. I think Uhura is going to be one of the star characters. To be honest, I prefer her portrayal of Uhura over Zoe Saldana's in the Star Trek Kelvin timeline. I feel like she's much more natural. She's much more of a normal person, and I like that about her. First two episodes have been really, really great. This episode was really good. It dealt with things like faith and belief, but also left it open to having a sense of the future is unwritten and you need to move forward. So the theme for this season is essentially Pike dealing with knowing his fate. That's the overarching storyline within this episode. I very much think that Uhura is great. What we saw of Hannah, which was only 2 seconds, but he was really good, and I'd like to see that little bit of Enterprise recognition. We have pretty much everyone shining. The show still feels fresh. The only thing I find about it is it doesn't feel original. There's a few elements in this which are new spins on things, but we've had episodes where comets are going to hit planets before. It's almost like they're sort of taking episodes off a list and going, oh, well, we can just put a twist on it, which is fine. I don't have an issue with it. I liked Picard, I liked Discovery, I like Lower Decks, I like Prodigy, which I'll be reviewing soon. Overall, I think this is a really good start to a series. It's certainly much more writing-wise solid than Star Trek Picard and Discovery. I think it's because it's an individual story. Like, other than the Pike stuff, it's an individual story of which doesn't stay for too long. It's really, really good. What did you think about this episode? What do you think about the actors? I love the actress who plays Uhura. I'm going to go, because I record this straight after I watch the episode. I'm going to go find out what the actress's name is, because she's really good. And she has such a bright face, and I really love it. So make sure to subscribe, like, comment. Please share this around. So I'll see you again next week for Star Trek Strange New Worlds Episode 3. My God, the year is flying. Later on this week, Star Trek Prodigy, we will be doing reviews of those episodes too.